Welcome to a very special episode of More Than Dice. I'm Gonzo. There's a Terrance up there that should
Terrance,
be saying.
number 2.
Hey, I didn't know it was a
Terrance, you're
specific
next in the
order.
shoot, man. Come on.
Look,
God,
okay, fine.
it's always Terrance.
This is Terrance from the Minority Report, the one you all love and cherish.
And I'm Erica from Delaware War Machine, tried and true.
Same, but I'm Andy.
Hey, I'm Isaiah, also known as Zeke, from Minority Report.
So, just so everybody know, we got together at Adepticon and we were like, hey, let's do like an all-together podcast, rehash of Adepticon and have everything going on. Because it was actually the first time that all of us have been together in person, sort of, kind of. We did it at Warfare Weekend last year, but this is like one at a very big con. So, let's talk about Adepticon.
Gonzo, you insert "We Are Family" right here.
We are family. We love each other.
He played the song.
I'll throw you out.
Yeah, I think it was nice too because it was the first convention we went to where like none of us were running anything, so we just got to play together.
Yes, very much
that's also
so.
true too.
Cool.
So we all went to Adepticon. Besides what we did, War Machine, Privateer Press related. Zeke, what did you do or anything? Did you like spend a ton of money like usual?
I mean, who doesn't? Like, it's Adepticon. I mean, there's models to paint to buy, terrain to buy, more models to buy. Absolutely. So ultimately, my initial goal when going to Adepticon is usually 3 things: play games, paint classes, and then do a lot of shopping. Well, because of the horribleness of the website this year and me trying to sign up and crashing on me 24 times, I couldn't sign up for any classes initially. But I was able to get into one class on Friday through the wait list. But outside of that, I bought a lot of terrain, a lot of the Warsenal and Micro Art Studios painted MDF terrain, because that terrain is extra pretty for Infinity and everything else. Picked up some more 3D foam, found some cheap 3D houses for War Machine. Also found another scatter terrain that we can utilize because bringing 3D back is where it should be at. And outside of that, went around, found some cool models, bought a lot of chibi models because I'm a horrible chibi addict. Yeah, that was that, besides playing games.
Okay. I also, and I know that Erica took a bunch of pictures because the Infinity tables, I did not buy any Infinity terrain, but I bought a ton of Infinity models because I'm getting back into Infinity, and I bought the new Judgment stuff. And I don't know, if you did not go and look at the Infinity tables, you were missing out on some of the coolest tables I have ever seen, especially the ones that lit up. And spoiler for everybody going to Warfare Weekend, Infinity is coming to Warfare Weekend with a lot of those tables because that crew is going to be running most of the stuff there.
Love the tables.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So Erica and Andy, what did y'all do besides War Machine Hordes?
We visited was it Broken Egg? No, it was. Who were we ninjaing from?
Who were you? What?
We ninja'd a bunch of tokens.
We went to, you mean at the dealership? Broken Egg, yeah, and Tabletop Armory. I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know what you're talking about.
We ninja'd a bunch of tokens for the people back home.
Yeah, from Broken Egg, from Adam.
Yeah.
We bought them. Like Ninja, we bought them.
All right, she doesn't understand what
I don't
ninja
understand,
means.
just, yeah. I don't.
So
Ninja is the act of...
At Adepticon,
people give you money to
so
buy
we
them stuff because they can't be
Bought
there.
them for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what ninjaing means.
Oh, okay. I'm old, so I don't.
Whoa, don't worry. Look, we'll get you with the young people lingo, okay? It's okay. We'll get you.
Ninjing.
Yeah, so it was our first Adepticon, actually. So I had some friends back home. Shout out to Joe Jess, who I am referring to as the mayor because that guy knows everybody at Adepticon. It was our first time there. We heard nothing but positive things, so we were super excited. It was really well run. Amazing tables, people everywhere, things to do. I think we're definitely going to add it on our circuit of conventions to go to every year.
You made it a point to buy an Adepticon shirt on the first day and the last day.
Yeah, I kept buying shirts.
Because you forgot you bought the first one.
Like, my brain was bad by the 3rd day. I was so tired and hungover. It was just like... I bought a lot of the same shirt.
for your first Adepticon, did you guys check out the glasses where they had all the painted models, like for
Golden
okay,
Demon.
cool. That's the big thing, because the Golden Demon stuff was really good
Yeah,
stuff.
the thing I was most impressed with, I guess, because they do that armies on parade, so I haven't seen armies displayed on full on dioramas where they lit up. There was like smoke effects, water effects.
Yep.
I mean, people they're very in tune with their craft, and you could see the love and passion that they have for this hobby.
Yeah, I was really impressed with a lot of the Marvel Crisis Protocol models. A lot of kit bashing there.
Yeah. They would like wire their their Sentinels and Iron Man, and they would light up. It was pretty cool.
Terrance, what about you? And so Zeke. No, I love you, Terrance.
Man,
I'm the best one. Sorry, Dame is the best one. I'm number 2.
Oh, okay.
look, these people are not high now. They know who's number 1.
So what did you do?
So, I've been to Adepticon several times. So, I mean, as far as the convention, I spent a lot of money. I spent probably more than most. So every time I go to Adepticon, my wife goes with me. So, and she hates gaming. So while I am in the gaming convention, she's out in Chicago spending money, just shopping. So
what you're saying is you're leaking from both ends.
Correct. So I go like every year I have to call my bank, credit card companies, let them know what we're doing, because like that first year, like I'm spending money at the convention, so this looks like my card is bouncing from Seattle to Phoenix to this place to that place, and then she's out here in Chicago just swiping like crazy. So
yeah, my credit card shut me off twice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so always call before you go to Adepticon, because if you go to a vendor booth, it could be, oh, this is from Spain, and this one's from Detroit, and this one's from Seattle. So yeah, number 1 hint: make sure you call your bank and say, hey, I'm going to be bouncing around the world this weekend.
Yep. So I did that, and then bought tokens, bought some airbrush stuff. Oh, and I bought my sweatshirt that I get every year. I didn't get the BIG either. I was on the impression that they had went to the busted system of, it's the lottery thing. If I'd have known it was first come, first serve, that's when I used to get it all the time. Because I'd been sitting at my desk all day just refresh. And I'd upgraded my internet just to make sure I got the badge.
And even with my upgraded internet, the website crashed 23 times.
I crashed probably 15 times, but still got a VIG. And that VIG, I know I'd posted it. By the time it was done and I calculated everything, it was almost $700 worth of stuff once it was said and done.
So we were talking with Joe, because Joe got the VIG as well. If anyone works for any shipping companies like FedEx or whatever, you guys would make a killing if you guys had a booth set up at this convention center.
Yes.
Just to mail stuff back home, because it was an impressive lot y'all got. So
oh yeah, I've already given away over half of it. Some of it's going for prize support for somewhere else. I've already had my boss is like, I want the Dune Arrakis thing, and I'm like, okay, fine, you can have it.
Well, Joe gave us a battle engine, so we have that for prize support for our community.
Yeah, how many siege crawlers do we have now? 4.
We have a lot
Hey,
of
I got another one. That's going to Warfare Weekend.
15 points. Just saying.
Oh yeah, they're good. We're gonna be using them as prize support.
So let's go and get to actual, War Machine related stuff. So the sign-ups, the narrative events were sold out with wait lists. Now the narrative events were only 10 players, but they were sold out and did have a wait list. The qualifier, the ATC, the team tournaments, they didn't sell out as big as we thought they were going to do. Anybody want to talk about that?
Well, so I think the biggest thing is that the Mark IV launch, a lot of people are kind of questioning Mark IV, at least in its first year. Mm-hmm. One, because of a lot of the legacy stuff is being drawn out release-wise.
Correct.
A lot of people were under the impression that pretty much all of the pre-Mark IV stuff would have rules at the beginning of Mark IV. So stuff they can roll with and utilize while the new stuff starts to slowly roll out. Obviously, that didn't happen. So for a lot of people, things that they want to play aren't available yet, for one. And for two, people are still unsure on the stability of Mark IV with, you know, the new movement rules and how things are going right now. So I think this first year may feel a little iffy on attendance, but I think once that first year and PP starts hitting their release mark with everything, I think we'll see numbers increase really quick.
I agree with you. I think, I mean, it's that testing period, and it's that change and not having, complete solid change every second of every minute. And of course, new models and everything coming out. So yeah, I agree with you on that one. Andy?
Yeah, the game itself really needs to fill itself out. Like Mark III to Mark IV, like if you were just talking about like new armies, yeah, we have half of 3 armies. So it's like the game's still in its infancy right now.
Which, going with that, to let you know that I've had more and more people ask for qualifiers for the Iron Gauntlet, so it's picking up. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Erica, but what were you going to say?
No, go ahead. Oh, I was going to say, so with looking at Adepticon, where you're saying the narrative events sold out and there was a wait list and we didn't fill out on like the competitive stuff. So we're kind of seeing something like that similar here in Delaware with returning and new players coming back to the game. So that seems to kind of be the driver right now in the community, because a lot of your traveling hyper competitive players, are taking the year off to kind of let things settle in and, coming off of a heavy Mark III year, Mark III year last year. I think a lot of those players are just taking some time off. But yeah, hitting on the newer guys coming back, people that are new to the game, I think that should maybe be more of a focus in this first year for some of these bigger conventions to draw more of a crowd.
Yeah, I will make one statement though. For a lot of my returning players, the game feels, for those who played it this long, feels like the good old days of Mark One, where we had these narrative scenarios that popped up in the No Quarter all the time. Mm-hmm. You played thematic armies to fit this narrative theme with these cool backgrounds and everything else, and that's kind of like, again, it was super flavorful. It may not have been the most balanced thing out there because Mark One had a lot of really powerful things, but it was fun. But it was fun and engaging, and it was like people were attracted to these models. Like, we're getting lore again. Like, too many times people love talking about the lore alongside their models and building lists to fill their lore and stuff like that all the time. So it's feeling like those old days of people just played the game for what was cool and what was awesome, not for the competitive stuff.
Yeah, I feel like it's a bit of an upgrade on that too, because all that stuff isn't scattered to the winds; it's all in one spot. And where the app wasn't rolled out perfectly, it's constantly improving, and I've been really impressed with the rate that they're improving the app and filling it out and getting more lore and scenarios and everything in there.
Oh yeah, there's been so much lore pumped out. I mean, it's coming like every week. These narrative scenarios are coming out. I want to thank out to Jonathan that has been working on those. And getting those out to us. So, I mean, it's been a lot of fun. I know a lot of people that were playing the narrative that were like, no, I don't want to play, competitive. I just want to play the fun stuff. I put quotes around that, the fun stuff, because they didn't have to worry about concentrating on making sure, precise and everything, so on and so forth. So I think a lot of people were into that.
Yeah, and I think one of the things is, like, this availability, like Isaiah was saying earlier, right? If you weren't at Warfare Weekend and you didn't get a battle box and you just bought one army starter, it's not 75 points unless you gear your jacks to the T, right? So to have a competitive tournament where it's 75 points and you did about one army starter, you like really pigeonhole to what you can play. You got one caster because you didn't get the battle box, and like this availability and stuff, like Horash's his alternate scope was there, but that means that Adepticon, you gotta buy it, assemble it, and paint it, because you can't play unpainted at Adepticon.
Correct.
So it creates this whole nother different barrier entry at Adepticon simply because of the painting requirement and availability of models. So, and it's not like it's back in the old days where you can count on Prior to the Press to have like whatever that following month's releases were at the con that would happen right before it. Like, if we knew that something was coming out in December or January, we knew At Warfare Weekend, it was gonna be in the Proprietary Press booth.
Yeah.
So you knew to have your money, and so like with that, with them more focusing on getting models and stuff out to distributors, so you don't have that. Hey, I can go buy this at the con, paint it, because we've all done it, right?
Oh,
We've
yeah.
all done that thing where like it works. Like you run to the booth, the first thing, and you're like, okay, I need to buy this. Then you run somewhere and you get all your friends to help you assemble this, paint it, so you can put it onto the table.
I
Yeah,
can't
we had a
remember
bunch of people begging us to check and see if there was those Gen Con style battle boxes for any of the new armies coming out, or anything for Dusk, or anything early that we could snag for them. But there really wasn't any early releases.
There was nothing.
No.
So funny story.
had
I
widget.
remember that one year we had someone buy Denny 3 when she came out at Adepticon. Tom bought Denny 3 and had one of our guys who was rooming with us, Tate, literally build and paint her that night so he could play her that morning in hardcore.
Yeah.
And I remember that. And he got it done. It was pretty nice too.
Oh, yeah.
He got it done.
Yeah, I think also that Privateer Press is trying to make sure that game stores and distributors have the product, the major big products, big boxes, in the hands of local game stores and distributors before they put it in a convention. That way, you don't feel like you're ripping off game stores type stuff that they're losing money. Also, one of the things that came up was the cost of Adepticon. Now, Adepticon, you're paying $75 for a badge, and then you're paying the entry to the tournament, and one tournament could be $20. And that's, you only get to play in that one tournament, and that's it. Because they charge per game, where that's kind of the standard of most conventions, is charging per game. Plus, you have to also think of your flight, or your driving, your hotel, because hotels are not cheap during this type thing. So, I mean, it's a big financial, commitment to go to any convention and pay that.
Yeah, we looked at the hotels that were close by, and we were like, we're going to stay a couple miles away, save a couple $100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also on the note, like the cool part about a Adepticon compared to some other ones is that, because I know I bought my badge for the weekend. A generic badge was like $50, but like with that basic badge, you can still enjoy practically everything at Adepticon still.
Yes.
Like you can still check out all of the cool models. You can get into the vendor hall and everything else. You may not be playing any games, but I mean, like, hell, like, just being able to view the games, you can still do demos. People showing off the cool stuff, seeing the showcases from Infinity, what they got coming up next, GW's big thing that they had. So, like, compared to most cons, like that basic badge without anything else still gets you access to so many things at Adepticon that it's. For that $50, it's well worth it compared to most other cons.
I mean, you paying for individual games and doing other things. I mean, the premium was what, 75 plus? I can't remember. And then the VIG was like 125.
Yep.
So I mean, if you didn't want swag or you couldn't get the swag, that was fine. But like I said, paying for each individual game, well, there's nothing wrong with that. For some people, we're still not in a great financial situation, in the world. So any cost has to be looked at completely.
Absolutely.
So, go ahead, Terrance.
I think, the crazy thing about it is, regardless of how much they end up charging, I think to some extent, people are going to always find a way to get there. Adepticon, when it comes to tabletop miniature games, Adepticon is the place to go. You see some of the coolest stuff there, like people's in costume and cosplaying. You see, like Isaiah saying, like, Edie, if there is a miniature game that you want to test or try or see get played, it is at Adepticon. Like you see, like it may be one table in a corner somewhere where they're playing this game that's dead. There's like no more models, but these people at Adepticon are still playing it.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I saw old school 40K. I mean, like old school 40K. Like 7th, 8th edition, like still being played at Adepticon. I was like, okay, like that's still being alive and people are still enjoying it. And there was a good amount of people still, like 30-some people still playing it.
Yeah, and that wasn't even going over what was the Hilton, which was all where all the historical games were being played. Yeah. So I mean, I didn't even go over there. I mean, I'm not into historical games, but there's a huge amount of stuff going on. So let's talk about tournaments. I personally did not do any tournaments this year for War Machine. I did do a tournament for BattleTech, which was a ton of fun, by the way. Great community. If you're into BattleTech, look up the WolfNet Radio guys. They were very welcoming, very friendly people, FYI. But I didn't do any competitive tournaments. What'd y'all do?
I did
ATC.
competitive tournaments.
Yeah, ATC. Hey, final table. I don't care what people say or how many teams there was. We made it to the final table. Okay.
Can't charge guard towers. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we didn't do any of the singles tournament. Andy and I played at ATC, of course, with Rick. Shout out. He was our fifth, and then it was a joint podcast with Minority Report and Tried and True. And then we did the 2v2s, which was 250-point lists, so 100 points altogether. That was a lot of fun. We played against these two guys that were dressed up like pirates, who were doing shots of rum throughout like their whole game, and
they're like to every event.
Oh, okay, yeah. So that's what they said. This is the one event they look forward to every year. It was like Bart and Damiano
and like 12 artillery crew.
Yeah, it was just like all weapon crew.
Those guys are great. Like they stick to theme, and it's just the greatest part. And then like I remember one year like we drunk with them. Like every time like a big thing happened, we all just took shots. It was great.
Yeah, those guys. I forget what their names were, but they're awesome. So if you guys are listening, you guys were a highlight for the weekend for me. So thank you.
Yeah, we're definitely going to try to do something local with a 2v2 idea. We got to figure it out whether we want to do a steamroller or a narrative style event.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I participated in Thursday's IG and Friday's IG, and the ATC, of course.
And how'd you do?
2-1 on both days. I had a great game. I mean, I had a lot of fun playing. It's probably, I went there at the most relaxed I've been in probably a year playing the game. And I just went, tried to have some fun. And overall, it was great. The only thing I have to warn everybody of is this. And this is a lesson I learned while I was at Adepticon. That is this. 4th edition is new rules for everybody. So so take the time. If you need to ask your opponent, hey, what's that? You sure? You sure? All right. Then,
yeah, many rules have changed.
Yes. It happened to me twice in one game. I messed it up too. Like in one game, I knew you could only cast 2 command cards a turn. But I was unaware of you cannot affect more than one model/unit with a command card a turn. So.
Ooh, I didn't know that one either. You can't use 2 command cards in a single model?
Yes.
Tim cheated last night. Damn.
You still beat Andy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I ended up like, granted, I didn't win off of it. We caught it before it got too far, I think. But like I popped Horash's feet. I hit my reavers with Repo and Tough. It's like, nope, can't do that. I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, with a couple models, I went on, and I was like, okay, we got to rewind and fix it, right, and redo some stuff. But like, yeah, make sure you double checking. And my shout out goes to Travis. I called the judge on everything. If I was thinking maybe wrong, I was like, Judge. And it was and I don't know what was going on. I think it's solely because he painted them all. There was towers everywhere. Towers all over the place.
Yeah, I think me and Nate called Travis over for just the guard tower probably like 8 times in our game. Just 8 different interactions every single time.
You know what's interesting about the guard towers is while the IGs were going on, the qualifiers and the final, I was grabbing a hold of a lot of the tournament players that are always going everywhere and started asking questions. I was like, what do you think? How are you doing? What do you think about the new terrain? And they were like, I like the new terrain. I like defenses. A lot of the major tournament players were very happy to see interactive terrain features besides, hey, it's there just to block line of sight. So they were like, I like the guard tower. I like defenses. I like things that I can interact with on the board. It just needs to be tweaked and, finalized type thing, and just make it where it's a whole lot easier to figure out, which I thought was good because I want cool things on the board also is what I'm playing.
Yeah, as a TO, I'm still nervous about allowing my players to, especially the more competitive ones, to place a bunch of stuff on the table.
I completely agree with you.
It's scary.
I think
I
the
don't give them
TO's
that
job is to set the terrain.
Agreed.
There's towers, everything. Like, I know the packet allows for people to set their own terrain, but in a game where we're trying to bring in new blood, you cannot let competitive people set terrain. They will create a scenario that a new player will sit there and be like, "What the hell is happening? I just got shot off the table, never made it into the game at all."
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think as a TO, you set up the tables, you set the terrain, you set the towers, you set everything else up, and it's static for the entire time. And then, of course, the changing and the things that are going to make it different is the defense features. Defenses are going to change up everything. Because, Andy, you had an interesting thing about the spike pit.
Oh, yeah. So I didn't realize this until last night, but it's just rough terrain. So, and it doesn't affect your own models. So you can just stand on it with a large base model and force 1-inch reach units to have to just take that power 10 in order to interact with you at all. It's a little mean, actually.
Actually, if I could just make a quick comment too on the fences. So I was one of those people, right, where like I was really on the fence and I wasn't feeling defenses. Like I was memeing on them pretty hard. So the night before the ATC, I didn't sleep very well. I don't know if I was like just because of all the energy from the convention. I don't know if I was nervous. So I had like this like fever dream list where I was like, screw it. And between Rick, Andy, and I, we won defenses for participating in the narrative event the day before. So I was like, hey guys, can I borrow your defenses? And my first game was into Orgoth, and I had never played against Orgoth before. And I'll be honest, having access to, and I used the walls, I just threw 3 walls down, made it so my opponent couldn't pull any of my pieces because they couldn't pull me through that feature. So it, look, I like defenses now. Like I'm all about it.
And remember,
It won me the game.
Remember, it's not a wall; it's a barrier. They changed it not to be in a wall. It does not have the word wall in it. And it is not a wall. It is just a barrier.
It still has the word obstacle in it, so you can't get pulled through.
There you go. That's
But you're correct that it's thinner than a wall.
Yes, it is not 3/4 of an inch. It's like maybe half an inch, roughly.
Like a half an inch, yeah.
We measured, so we brought our defenses to open play last night, and we have an engineer that's like in the store that had you probably know the name of the tool. Like he's like really measured. He's like, oh yeah, let's get the exact. Yep. That's it. That's the guy.
Micrometer.
Yep.
It has one on hand.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I kind of wanted to touch on before we get away from guard towers. So for me, like I TO a lot of events and steamrollers back home. And one of the discussions that comes up quite frequently in the TO community is, so we have the guard towers. We have 3 of them. So we definitely want to implement them in our games. Mm-hmm. So do we put those in zones? Do we keep them out of zones? So it's interesting to see PP set up the IG steamroller scenarios with both towers in and outside the zone. So we really got to see that in motion throughout the whole weekend. It was very informative.
Yeah, as they were ruled at Adepticon, I probably wouldn't put them in zones for now. Yeah. Just because if you don't have the tools to interact with the models inside them, it's just really... it's not a good play experience. Yeah,
because the models, if you have a tower in a zone and models are occupying it, that's considered contesting. Mm-hmm. So we saw games where like a standard bearer would just run in there. Okay, well now that standard bearer has 40 boxes and 20 armor. But yeah, I think keeping them outside of the zones is probably what we're going to do.
Yeah, the other fun thing is if you do the trigonometry and you're within 4 inches of, your base is within 4 inches of a flag diagonally, it was ruled at Adepticon that you're contesting that flag as well. So you can just have a guard tower just shutting down half the board until they kill that guard tower, unless they can finally kill the model that's inside that tower.
Yeah, the guard towers. So I guess we need to preface the guard tower talk with this. We were told at Adepticon the guard tower rules that we played with are not final. They were just for Adepticon, and they're all possibly going to be, most likely going to be changed. Like, I don't see. I do see you don't want to guard. I would agree with you, Andy, that you don't want a guard tower completely within the zone. But I could see a guard tower being partially in the zone because the models in the tower are then measured by where their location is in relative to the zone. So that way you can't put a whole unit in the tower and they're automatically scoring the zone. If it's only half the towers in there, that means only half the unit can be in the zone. So therefore they can contest that zone, but they cannot score their own zone. I think people are more okay with it being a contesting piece than it is a scoring piece. Because like if it's scoring, you took your 7.6 wound model, the 6 wound unit, you just turned them into armor 24 against range, armor and 40 boxes. That you just take one unit and just elevate them to the point they essentially are in the zone, and you just have to feed it stuff just to stop it.
Or you can be degenerate and just put Iris in there.
Oh yeah, that was crazy.
That was absurd. Iris is now armor 20. She's a battle engine. Congratulations.
So let's put something to rest because it was debated and it was put on the Facebook page. Can they be charged?
No.
That was our
No.
team
At
name.
least at Adepticon they could not be.
No,
Correct.
At the moment, they cannot be because
They're
Yeah.
not models.
But go ahead, Erica.
Oh, sorry. And the other thing too that was interesting that we had brought up too was so when the guard tower is destroyed, the piece is actually removed from the board. So that created an interesting scenario multiple times where it's like, okay, I am, investing my heavy jack a full activation, an activation and a half worth of models to kill this guard tower. Now that structure that was a line of sight blocker is no longer blocking line of sight for my opponent's army. So this tower gets removed, and then there's my battle group that's just sitting there, with no cover. That can get charged.
Yeah, it's really committal to try to remove one of those. So what you're committing is now very exposed.
So
Yeah, absolutely.
if things were going to change and, you're going to have guard towers on the board, how do you think list changing is going to be? Because you're going to have to bring something that can take that out in 1 to 2 turns.
So what
I
would
don't
say
have anything for that. My faction.
So I would say
doesn't
in
do
this
that. Sorry.
situation, so I think sprays now become very important because while you're in a guard tower, you have both cover and elevation. So ignoring cover is very important now in this situation. So now they're just getting the +2 defensive bonus for elevation. So having sprays that can reach out to touch those models while they're inside now makes that job easier. So if something like Eris is still in there, sure, she has stealth, but you ignore it because of sprays. And I think those are probably the main things. And then outside of that, a heavy that has high speed 6 or higher from a buff, that can just walk up to it and beat on the guard tower to remove it. It's probably your best answer because while it has armor 20 plus carapace, ruining it from range is almost impossible.
Yeah, you're not shooting down a card tower.
Yeah.
Clockatresses are really good, by the way. Clockatresses are a great answer for stuff hiding in there because they're fast enough to get into position and they can just line stuff up.
Yep.
Yeah, and then Orgoth got all the heavies. If you shooting guns, they ignore the cover on the top floor. They don't know the elevation. However, I think as far as list building, at least in my opinion, is this: if you are a person who are traveling to major conventions or you going to steamrollers on a regular event, I don't think you change adding a spray. That's a minor thing that you can do just in case. But I don't think you should change your list on it because there is no guarantee, one, there's going to be one on your table.
Nope.
And two, that it's one in a range that you can actually deal with. A lot of times the thing is just try to mitigate its effects as much as possible. Like I played several games where there was a guard tower in the middle of the board, and I was like, okay, and I would position my stuff so it could go into the guard tower on the next turn, and the presence of it is actually more fearful than it actually is. So people would not come near the tower because they knew I could walk into it, and I had no plans ever of going to use their guard tower.
I do
Like-
not like. That's my least favorite place for them. I do not want them right in the middle of the board. I don't think they belong there.
I think they
They're not
belong
so-
on the sides. I like them on the
I
sides
like
because
them on the
you
sides, too.
you've got to commit. If you have to commit to the tower, you're going to have to do some flanking to get to it, and you're
Yeah.
going to have to go over there.
Well,
The-
my only contesting is, and it's very list dependent. But there are some lists. If certain things get in them, it becomes oppressive because of the additional, like, what is it, +4, 6 range.
Plus
Then it
4
gives-
range, yeah.
+4 range, it gives a model on top of whatever range and or spells are on the unit that's going in. So certain units can ignore or see so much of the board now that they can just shoot whatever they want.
So-
Where that can be oppressive.
So,
I like it. I like it committed to one side or the other. When I say side, I mean like somebody's side, because it gives you a good decision point for whether you're going first or you're taking that guard tower from your opponent.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, just really quick too. Something else that we talked a little bit amongst the other players who were playing Least Tables, Least Towers, is maybe if a rule like, so Gonzo, you asked the question earlier, how do you deal with it, right? So if I decide to occupy the tower, what is my opponent going to do to remove that feature? A concept that we were discussing over at Adepticon was like, well, what if I occupy the tower, now it's no longer a structure, but now it's considered a model at that point, because I'm making the conscious decision to occupy that terrain feature. So if the guard tower becomes a model due to that decision, now it can be affected by things like armor debuffing spells or armor pierce, or debuffs is the big thing, right? Because it's got so many boxes in armor. And then me as a player, I'm making that conscious choice to put my little mans in that tower, which could make the tower vulnerable. Like, it makes it vulnerable at that point.
No, and I agree.
Yeah.
From a design perspective, though, they're really trying to encourage people to get in the tower. I think that's another big push to say we're just going to ignore this because I don't want to make myself more vulnerable in some other way.
Yeah. And
So
think one-
it's hard.
I think one of the things that TOs also need to pay attention to is not just the placement of the guard tower, but the placement of the door.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
The
I
door,
already screwed that up. I screwed that up against Nate already.
Yeah, so there's nothing wrong with you as a TO. You can put it on one side of the board, but that don't mean you have to face the door to that side of the board. You can face the door away from that side of the board. That way they have to walk around the entire tower to get into the front door. That way it at least buys that player on the other side of the board at maybe 1 or 2 turns before, because you don't want something able to run on turn 1 just to walk into the tower. That's crazy. Like, turn the door around so they can't just easily get on there on turn 1.
Can you run and get into the tower? Or do you
Yes.
have to walk? Oh, you can run?
You can
Yeah.
run.
Yeah, I, from a balance perspective, I think they should probably take that away.
Well, yeah. Like, I am a true advocate. Damon mentioned this on our show, is that the +4 range should change to snipe. And
Yeah, you
I
should
really-
stack that.
yeah, I think it should be, in my opinion, models unit activating in the tower while in the tower gains snipe. So that means you walk into the tower, you don't immediately start shooting 4 inches further. You give your opponent a turn at least before you just start wrecking them at a distance. Like, you have to activate in the tower, you get sniped. If you leave it after that, you lose it, right? So it's a lot of different ways they can go with it, but I think the biggest thing to me about the tower is this, and as much as I harp on, or people may harp on how it's kind of crazy, it's kind of wonky, I think at the end of the day, it's a good thing for the game.
100%.
It is interactive terrain that you can do something with, and that part of it, I encourage PP to keep trying, keep doing more stuff like that. So we have terrain that you can actually do something with that makes sense, that's flavorful for the game. And yeah, it may end up at the end of the day, once the final rules are, it may end up slightly stronger or slightly broken, but that's fine. But those things are what makes your greatest stories of War Machine, right? Hey, because I don't see how you, even with walking, I don't know of a list that can have a heavy hit hard enough that can kill a guard tower one time.
Yeah, I play Protectorate, and I can't even do that.
It takes
It's
me
not
at least
happening.
2 full activations.
Yeah, like even with Orgot, I can only, it takes 2 heavies. And I would rather, if I'm the person that's trying to destroy the tower, in my opinion, what you do, you send your heavy up there, you swing on it one turn, and you wait. You destroy it on your next turn. You weaken it as much as you can, and you destroy it on your next turn. So that way, the rest of your army then can activate and protect your heavy if you need to. Oh, and just another heads up to most people. If you put your casters on opposite sides of towers, there's likely that one of those casters can point himself on the other side of the tower and kill your cast.
Oh yeah. Let's go with something that was actually the. I'm gonna say I played this and I had an absolute blast. And if you didn't play the narrative event, you missed out on some fun shenanigan bullshit.
Sure. Yeah. That was my favorite War Machine event all weekend, was the narrative. Kudos to PP. They put on a fabulous show.
So why don't you go and describe what actually was happening and give a brief description? Because I know people saw pictures.
Sure. So Andy and I had the opportunity to do the first ever one that they did on Thursday. So basically it was a 5-on-5. Everybody brought a 50-point list, so caster, battle group, and unit infantry. So it was 3 tables that were all cohesive. So it wasn't like 3 separate ones. So it was basically, the story was there were 6 guard towers on the defender side, and then there was a train track that went through all 3 tables with a train, locomotive, and parts of the train. There's 3 parts to it. It was really cool. The scenery they did, everything was painted, everything looked great. And the thing that made it really unique is Lauren kind of she GM'd it, basically. So while we were playing on this thing, if we wanted to interact with a terrain feature or a role play, we were allowed to do that. So some of the cool things, I think Akers, he played Orgoth in the 2nd iteration, and they were using defenses. So he was like, hey, I'm going to pick up this powder keg. Can I basically Helm's Deep one of my heavy jacks into a guard tower and blow it up? And she's like, yeah, you can do that. You'll lose your jack, but you'll one-shot the guard tower. So you're able to do cool stuff like that. The train, it had guns on it. You could shoot it. You could drive it down the track. Our group acted like the train shot once, and our team collectively was like, never again. So our group pushed the train over. You didn't have to do that, but...
Yeah, we saw that train shoot once, and we were like, that's unacceptable.
Yeah, so the Storm Legion players pushed the train onto a bunch of Man-O-War and crushed them on the other side. So a lot of fun stories, but and it felt very... So Andy and I played on the Invader side, Rick was on the Defender side, and it was very, it was an uphill battle. Each team got 20 minutes together to do all their activations, everyone simultaneously. And then the pendulum just swung the other way come turn 4 and 5. And we were able to pull it off for the defenders. We may have sent Sevi downrange to try and run off the table. It was a lot like Willem Dafoe from Platoon, where that's what it was. Yeah. That's what the model looks like, right?
Yeah, spoilers, he didn't make it.
No, he didn't make it. But the child and... Barnabas did, so one for hordes.
Yeah, I mean, from a balance perspective, it was really deceptive because it's 50 points versus 50 points, 5v5. So you'd think the defenders would have a really, really big advantage by just having to defend this giant tower as well as winning on attrition. But I feel like the attackers kept winning out for some reason.
Yeah, because the actual way to win, if you were the invaders, you had to destroy 4 towers and get 2 casters in the opposite deployment zone. And as the defenders, all you had to do was survive, 7 rounds and make sure none of those things happened.
Yeah, so if you're playing defenders, if you're just at least going even, you should be winning, right?
Yeah. Now, we got, on one of ours, 2 things that happened during ours was the water tower. Because in the water tower, you could push a button and it would drop, a water effect, and you could put a water effect wherever you want. But the guy asked, he goes, well, I have a ton of guys on fire around me, because I guess the person that was across from him brought a list that put fire out. And he asked Lauren, he goes, can I just hit the button and do like an area effect spray that hits everything in 5 inches and puts out fire effect? And she was like, yeah, sure. So ruined this guy's all his continuous fire that was on his models. Then we had a troll player that jumped on top of the train and leapt off of the train, Did like he was playing in Warcaster, jumped off of the terrain, took damage when he hit, and then beat the crap out of Kish and killed her.
Nice.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. I think we want to take. Oh, no, we do want to take some of the things that they did at the narrative. So we're doing the narrative campaign that's in the app at our store right now. We're like, oh, how cool would it be to like combine tables and then just do 50 points, like just have everybody play together, because it was such a fun experience. And there's even talks now. Shout out to Seth and Steve of New Jersey SOBs. I think Portal might be on too. So instead, we do like regional steamrollers with each other. We're thinking, since this first year is kind of like a weird year and everyone's kind of like doing non-traditional steamrollers, instead of we're just going to do a narrative event for the day and invite people, from all over the area, and we're just going to play narrative games for the day. So, yeah, it sucks for missing the next one, but yeah, if you get the opportunity, like Gonzo was saying, to sign up for one of these narrative events, you'll have a blast. It's so much fun. It's good energy.
And
it's a great way to play War Machine.
And the thing is that you could make up stuff on the fly, because Lauren was making stuff up. She was like, yeah, sure, go right ahead. We were just asking if we could do, cool, fun things that typically aren't in the rules, like knocking over a terrain. Knocking over the terrain.
A good session of D&D, where if you have a decent DM that's willing to work with you, you can do fun stuff just for the hell of it.
Just have a good time. I mean, that was I had people that were playing there the first time, and they were just like, I'm just gonna run up here and just beat the crap out of stuff. I don't care. We had somebody that lost all their beasts because the train ran over them, and Lauren's like, oh, you can bring this one back and this one back and just put them in your deployment zone next turn.
Yeah, I like that. I like that they did that. So with our first iteration, I don't think they had introduced the respawning aspect yet. So like if your caster died, it was like, okay, you're on the bench. You really couldn't do much. So I'm glad that was something that they introduced later in the weekend. I think that was good.
Yeah, it was a blast. I think we're going to see more and more narrative events pop up, not only locally and not only at big conventions, but also locally, because it just gets you to have a good time. And it's also a good way to learn the mechanics of the game, too, because you're not pressured by, competitive play and might have to worry about screwing up and getting wiped out turn 1B or something.
Yeah, it was my first experience having 5 people next to each other, all playing at the same time. That was a little chaotic, and it was very interesting. I really liked it.
Those are always
We're
fun.
definitely going to try that locally.
Yep. That's going to be happening. I think we're going to see a lot more narrative stuff, which is going to be fun. Let's get to something that we're not going to talk about because we didn't know about it, but PP did a huge update today in the app. Who wants to start off?
We got Battle Engine study.
Let's let Minority Report you hop in. We just we just word vomited all over this narrative event. So yeah, what are you guys excited for with the changes?
My 2 point, not as good as Signal Mechanic got the pistol rule. Dude,
no one is good as Signar mechanics. Don't blame yourself.
No one.
Somebody still has to explain to me why I have to pay 2 points for one mechanic. They pay 4 points for 3 mechanics that are like armor 16 with 5 boxes. What? Why is that
17.
a thing? 17. Armor 17 with 5
That's right.
boxes.
Get those numbers right.
On a mechanic.
They've learned their lesson.
Lesson about what?
Getting knocked the hell out of in Mark III.
Yep.
Dude, oh yeah. The mechanics when he put some armor on, I'm like, dang, these dudes got on Manowar armor.
I can just see the recruitment. Come join Signar. You'll get killed a lot. And they're like, nope, we're giving you armor this year around. So now you can survive.
I make it a point in every game that's not like super, super close to charge them with choir just to show them who's boss. My Mat 4 Power 6 choir.
Yeah, his choir always hit. I don't care if they're Mat 4. They're going to be rolling 9s and 10s to hit you all day. So
Hey, positive charge lets you cheat.
Fair.
There was a lot of
Ballinger
updates.
went down 2 points, so I was happy with that.
Yep.
What went down 2 points?
The Rulik Battle Engine. It's now 15, not 17.
That's the toilet one?
Yeah.
The toilet one?
Yeah, it looked like a toilet
Yes.
bowl.
That is the bigger Darius
I didn't-
toilet bowl. Yes.
I didn't know that's what people called it.
I've heard
Yeah.
around shop.
Yeah, that's the big one. Darius is the medium one. Yes.
That one can't boost, right?
Correct. That one cannot boost.
Yeah, so it shouldn't have been 17 points. That was
No.
a bit much.
Oh yeah.
And then the Inferno Tower went down to 11. I was talking to Damon today. He said he's still not going to take it.
My shrine's 10 points. It ain't happening. It's not making the board.
Yeah, like they was like, it doesn't the Inferno one doesn't generate its own souls anymore. So like, what are you gonna do with it? And now it's a big roadblock.
Yeah.
Does it still give you the little slipstream thing?
Yeah, I think it does
Yes.
that.
Okay.
But how you
That
get
was
a soul?
to me, that was always the most useful part of it.
But you got to get a soul on it to get it to do it.
Yeah.
And now since you can't kill your own stuff, how do you get a soul on it?
Hey, the protector player agrees. Only
Yeah.
Scorn is more sad.
It's also true.
So, Group Kin, we got our death knell. It's back. It's a battle engine. It's back, baby.
Not a solo no more.
Yeah. Oh gosh, look, it comes from a place of love, man. I'm so glad it's a battle engine. So we were talking online. I put up a stupid video earlier today because I was just so excited. I'm glad because I think we're gonna start seeing the model be back in the army. So it's still 10 points. Awesome. I think we'll start seeing warlocks like the child getting table play again. I think she was benched for the longest time because of the hey Samoa Cat. Without having the death knell in the army. So I'm excited. It's good.
Cool.
Still missing repo, but that's okay. We're like, it's a battle engine. I'm happy. Can score rectangular zones again.
What I thought it's better that it's a solo because then you park it on the flag and it never moves.
Okay, all right. So time out. Here's the flag thing. Okay, I hear the argument. So here's where I'm going. So one, like, oh, what if that flag's by a house or a wall? Like, oopsie poopsie, I can't put my big base there. The other thing is a lot of flags are up. It's a support backline piece. So whenever I play it, that thing don't leave like my deployment area until like churn 4 or 5. So for it to just be on a flag where, oh, it's a solo, okay, you can just slam it off the flag now. It's only def 12.
Slam guns are fun.
Yeah, slam guns. Still slam it. Might be half distance, but you can still get off the flag pretty easily.
I mean, that is true. Like, with it not being a battle engine,
Yeah,
it then starts getting affected by grievous wounds. It can be slammed.
Grievous, stationary, slam, like all that comes with the solo. And I don't know if they gave it the solo tag because they're like, oh, people need to play it at lower points because I think battle engines you can only take at 75 points. No one was taking that card at 50 points. Like,
I mean, look, at 50 points, there's a whole lot of stuff that never sees the table.
Yeah.
When you play a 50-point game, there is no support. If it can't work, it don't make it.
Oh yeah. No.
Like, if you start picking support stuff at 50 points, you get tabled.
I still bring choir.
Yeah,
because they're
They're
required.
3 points. Well, also I know Andy's happy. Sevi can affect Inferno casters now.
Oh yeah, I'm still never feeding. It's not happening. He doesn't
I'm
have a
just
feed.
saying.
And Gravis got his typo fixed, I guess. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah,
there was a lot
funny.
of rat removal and typos. And stuff like
I was
that.
messaging him at work. I was like, dude, update your app. Like, this all the stuff's out. He's like, oh, yeah, they fixed Gravis' typo. I was like, no, it's not about Gravis. It's not about him right now. Like,
It's never about Gravis.
But Sevi is still the old man. I'm really surprised that they put him into Prime because Sevi's been dead for many years. And, like, they keep...
Yeah, he's been dead since, what, Godless? The novel? That was way before Infernals.
Yeah, so I'm just surprised he even made it over in the first place.
I mean, I love him as a caster. I still think he's one of the more interesting mage-style casters. They just neutered his control range, which made his feat just not worth ever casting. It's a shame.
Yeah, they want you to get the old man up there.
Hey,
The
72
just to die.
should have been.
I mean, it was hard keeping him alive when he had a 14-inch control range, let alone...
And 12 shield guards. I used to get 12 shield guards.
yeah, so let me ask you guys a question. So do you think that these changes were always in the pipeline, or do you think it was some of the dialogue and then seeing these pieces at play at Adepticon that kind of shifted that.
I think he's already in the
Already-
pipeline.
Yeah, I
Because
think
Project Press,
100% already
I mean, as much as I love the company, I love what they do, they don't move that fast.
No.
Yeah, these were
it's
mostly
no
red
way.
tape changes anyway. These
Well, I
weren't
mean-
like balancing stuff based on what they saw.
And there was a lot of changes that were just, let's remove rat status because the model doesn't have no need for rat. I mean, there was a ton of those. So there was, these were already in the work, which I was really surprised. I mean, we're 2 days after
Yeah, that was so
Adepticon.
quick. That's why I was like, oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
And did they fix Xerxes, Isaiah?
Xerxes is dead. So is your Resnick 2. Let's be
Like-
honest.
Like,
They don't survive the board.
Yeah, well, they don't live. I mean, but at least did they at least give him a control range on his card? Because he didn't have one of those.
Nope.
My assumption is that if I don't have one, it's whatever I want it to be. So
I mean, that is
therefore-
your feat, right? That's the feat. It's whatever
Yeah.
you want it to be.
Yeah.
So for a turn, he's got a control range.
Yeah.
But yeah, Resnick losing you can't shoot me if I'm camping kind of makes him just a dead in the water.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Look.
I think he needed that change because the way his feat works, where you can't spread units out anymore, so it's just a flat power 12 to everything within 2 inches of that one dude. Guess what? All of his friends are within 2 inches. So I see why. Like if you're gonna move him up to aggressively just delete armies casually without a lot of work, then maybe he should get charged.
Here's the thing, though. I know you saying that, but Erica, Resnick
I get it
was
every
worse.
day, man. I get it like 3 nights a week here.
But
She
it
just likes
used to be
playing
worse because it was like a 3-inch pie plate, right?
Yep.
Or was it 4?
No, it was 3.
Okay, because like even when I played Resnick 2 and Mark 3, I still deleted every bit of single wound infantry.
Oh yeah.
Like it going down to AOE 2 is a boom because they could have left it where it was like you put your whole unit up there, like all right, I can just delete them.
No, he still does.
It's not AoE 2. It's every model within 2 inches.
Yeah, that's why.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
It can be really good, but don't get shot. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, that's
I'm like
the answer.
camping 4 on him every turn, and he still almost dies.
Yeah,
every-
Yeah,
I also didn't know the Devout lost the ability to stop spells.
I know, right? That felt like a really not that was a not nice nerf. That was really useful for a lot of casters.
Yeah, I mean he's gonna be. I mean he's always had a rough time. He can never hide. Everybody else put their casting behind the forest. You put Resnick behind the forest, they're like, okay,
Yeah,
Look
just get
good,
charged by
look good.
whatever. Yeah.
yeah. I got killed by a ghostly death jack one time.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
That sounds about right.
this is so stupid. I got nowhere to go.
They also did update defenses so that all defenses can be destroyed by extra large and higher bases. I think is what they finally
It's
fixed
like,
it.
what,
Correct.
80 and 120s, right?
Yeah,
Yep, 8120.
So
which that was just missing out of there. So it was
so they
still
can't
part
be
of it.
destroyed until May. Gotcha.
You got Sapper? Hey, you got Sapper in a powder keg?
Yeah. Do you think sappers become required now?
I don't.
Not yet.
I mean,
one,
not
because
when defenses are widespread.
I think it depends on how much you care, right?
Right.
Like, I can see in some armies if you really want your stealth, you may want to bring one just to take away somebody has a bunch of fire pits, or if you got an army that can't charge over walls, like no Pathfinder, you need that Sabbath
that's
cord
me.
to you.
That's
you
me.
Rid of. Yeah.
And I think that's the cool part of all of this is this is a whole fresh new thing. There is no meta list or meta deck right now.
Oh no.
And that's you've got to go to events and see, well crap, I should have brought Sapper, or crap, I didn't bring Sapper. I brought Sapper and it didn't affect me because not everybody's playing with defenses or very few people are playing with it. It's going to be the thing of everybody's starting to make lists and getting out. I mean, we've had a lot of on the general page. There's been a lot of people going, "Hey, we got an event coming up. We got an event coming up." People are starting to make more and more events. So it's going to be interesting to see when those events, how they start shaping and what everybody starts bringing again. I mean,
Ooh, when's
it's a
the
whole
when's
new
the
world.
next Legacy Army coming out? That should be coming out in like the next day or two, right? Is that Guardians? That might be Guardians.
What do I
Might
say?
be. Because I think it's this. I think it's
Are
this
you-
month. Because nothing's come out this month
Hold
yet,
on.
right?
Hold up. Wait a minute.
Last thing was Wolds, right?
Are you telling me, Eddie, you're excited about a Temple Flame Guard?
Hi, I have a very large shelf that has a lot of models on it, and I would like to play
don't
with them.
disrespect
Thank
the
you.
Temple Flame Guard.
Look, Eddie,
They were really, really bad, Mark III. That whole theme was terrible. I'm
Great.
hoping maybe they fix it. Who
Look,
knows?
in that regard, I have FA of everything in Menor. Everything.
I think I
fully
have
paid.
everything. I think I only have one unit of the Flamebringers. Everything else I'm full FA.
Flamebringers, I have 2. I actually have, believe it or not, 3 units of Deliverers, fully painted.
Deliverers don't exist. That's not a thing.
I
missed their Mark
train
1
with
rule
you.
where they can explode themselves.
So
Oh
you-
yeah,
For
that
those
was the
days.
last.
Yeah.
For those days.
I'm on a mid-off train with you. But when you start talking about Temple Flame Guard, until they prove that they can do better,
I'm playing it when it comes out. It might be terrible, but I'm at least getting on the table a couple times.
There we go. That's
look, okay, fine. If you're gonna put it on the table, you gotta at least play with Thyra.
Look,
Thyra's
I
the
want
only.
to play cleansers. Let me play cleansers.
Oh my god, those dudes were so. I thought they were gonna be
They
great.
were awful. We're gonna find out if they're awful soon.
So I guess kind of piggyback on what you were saying earlier, Gonzo, with all these events. So I've noticed that too, and it's really exciting to see a lot of War Machine events. That people are putting on. So thank you, community, for doing that. Shout out, keep them coming. To get all aboard the hype train. I'm really excited on that note too, with community and advertising out events. Is a Privateer Press. Rumor on the street is that the forums are coming back, and I think that's going to be a feature on the forum, is like a one-stop shop community event posting. So we no longer have to rely on the Facebook, Discord, and all these other social media sites, where we'll have an official one-stop shop place where all these great things are going to be advertised at.
Talking about community events, Tried and True, where are you going to next?
Broker Brawl. Going to the Broker Brawl in Jersey. Shout out Steve and Seth.
3rd week in April. Buy your tickets.
Yeah.
What's after that?
We have Broker Brawl. Oh, Siege Invitational. Minority Report. And Donzo,
Yep.
are you going to be there?
I'm going to the Siege.
Okay,
I will be at the
awesome.
Siege.
Siege Invitational. And then after that is, I think, Nova, right? Yeah, the Nova Open. And Delaware War Machine Tried and True, we are running all the War Machine events there this year, and it's our first year doing so. On a release year, so.
You got it. You know how to
That's
do
rough
it.
out here, you guys. But yeah, we're super excited, to kind of go back and talk about the narrative event. That's going to be our marquee event. So my brother has been working on these amazing 3D themed tables. We did a video. He's basically recreating Henchhold. He's doing the monuments right now, so he's got Striker done. It looks great. We can't wait to share it with everybody and show you guys. So the narrative campaign day, we're doing a narrative campaign. All of our tables, not to plug our event, but
No, go ahead and plug your event. You're supposed to.
Oh, keep plugging.
I'm plugging hard. So for our rows of tables, they're going to be themed after a different region in the Iron Kingdom. So this row of tables will represent Khador, this row will represent Ios, etc. And all those tables are going to be themed. So you're going to feel like you're fighting in the frozen wastelands of Khador or the spooky swamps of somewhere in Signar. For the narrative campaign, depending on how your side does in the region, will determine what happens in the greater war over the course of the day. So I'm excited to say that Winter Corps and Orgoth will be our first Mark IV army versus Mark IV army that's going to be hitting the channel in the next couple of months. We're hoping by June at the latest. We're actually going to showcase one of our custom homebrew scenarios that we will be hosting at Nova. So that way we can kind of share and you guys can see what my brother and I have been working on. So yeah, we're super excited. We're struggling a little bit on selling tickets and events. So War Machine community, I know we kind of wait until last minute to pick up tickets. Timeline wise, we may start to lose table space if we're not able to sell events. So if you're on the fence about, I don't know if I want to come to Nova, we encourage you to get your tickets early because we're sharing the same space as Lord of the Rings and AOS, and those are kind of bigger in this area right now. So we want to come back next year. So we're just hoping for we know it's going to be down, attendance is going to be down, but we're really hoping to make this a successful, fun event for the community. We have a great spread. We have a great spread of stuff. We got the casual steamroller, we got King of Coin finals, narrative, and of course the IG qualifiers and team event. So come hang out with us.
As
We'd love to see.
As a TO and running things and doing things, it is very, very important for people to sign up because there are some people that didn't sign up for the events at Adepticon and they cut their table space down. And there are other people like, oh, I was going to do that today. No, you do it as soon as possible. For me, it doesn't run if they only have 10 people signed up. If they book 20 tables, they're going to cut it down to 10 tables. And if more people show up, you're SOL. So sign up and show your support for these people because it depends on whether they get to come back or not. Zeke, what are you doing? What's your next event you're going to be going to?
Well, planning Broker Brawl.
Yeah,
My group is actually talking about Rocky Top, so
Oh, yeah?
we're gonna see what we can do about that. I was able to talk some of my old Indie Storm guys into possibly hosting something in Indy during April as well. So a lot of us may make some trips. Then here in Illinois, depending on where we're at. Obviously Siege, Gen Con, and yeah, there's a lot planned. So lots of traveling for the rest of this year. So I'm all over the place.
Terrance, what
I'm
about
in
you?
California late August. So
Similar to everybody else, I'll be at Broker Brawl next. Like Erica said, shout out to Seth and Art and Steve and all those guys up there. I'll see them soon. And then in May, one of our other hosts of the Minority Report, Damon, is running the event at the Rocky Top. That's in Knoxville, Tennessee. That event is going to be amazing. Like I said, Damon's going to be running it. So for all of you all that know how Damon set up tables, so it's going to be something for the books. So
always,
he has been ever since December. Damon has started working on building terrain for both Rocky Top and for Siege Invitational. So you are going to be, I'm sure you're going to be amazed. So, and then at the Rocky Top that's in May. Then we have the Siege Invitational in June. So make sure y'all come out.
July 22nd.
July 22nd. Then so tickets will be up soon. Damon's gonna be running it. Damon TOs the event. I host the event. So if you get ready, I don't know about any of y'all, right? If you don't like barbecue, you don't like hanging out with people, you don't like having fun, then you don't want to come. But if you like any of those events, you like any of those things, come on. Because we'll have plenty of food, plenty of fun. You get to meet some of those pseudo-famous podcasters, right? You can meet Isaiah face to face. You get to see.
That's a horrible idea. It's a horrible idea.
How's it feel to be an A-lister, Isaiah?
Oh, God, no.
First name, you're an A-lister right there.
you know Gonzo's there when you see the red carpet roll out to the front door.
Whatever.
So, you know,
No, you'll notice Gonzo because the funky shoes will come through.
I cleared a spot in my backyard so Andy can land his helicopter. So, you get to meet some people, hang out. Even we are working on a narrative thing for Siege Invitational as well. And we're gonna work on. You're gonna see some pretty interesting stuff for us starting next month. We got some fun commercials coming out, and some other stuff. So it's gonna, and a lot of them.
If they were made by Terrance, be warned. Just be warned ahead of time.
Yeah, I'm down to clown. I'm ready. I want to see.
The commercial's gonna be cool. I mean, you're not the butt of the joke this time, Isaiah. So you should be happy about it. But I am gonna have a bib and pamper ready for you so you can model your sippy cup.
Hey. Disrespect the sippy cup.
But yeah, and then I'm not sure what else. I know I can't make it to Nova. I have a wedding. I would have definitely went to Nova if I didn't have a cousin getting married.
That's
But
okay.
I'll tell him to move it next time.
There you go.
Yeah. How about you, Gonzo? What are your next couple stops?
I will be making it to the Rocky Top. Already got that planned and booked that out. Definitely will be at Siege, which can't wait for because it's my first time going to Siege, and I've been told that the barbecue is legit, and if it's not, the Southern Boy's gonna have a little bit of talk with the cook because it better be perfect.
So
Let me play something for you.
if Terrance is not good at nothing else, I will at least give him the props that he can at least do some barbecue. Good.
I can burn some meat. Now that I can
Absolutely.
do. Now I may not be able to go 3-0, but I can go. I can if it's meat or a vegetable and it can fit on my grill, I can smoke it.
If you feed me ribs, I will love you forever.
So this is one. I've been debating on whether or not to do what the third meat would be this year. And I was gonna do ribs. I couldn't do ribs, but here's the problem. The last time I did ribs, people did not want to leave my house. So like I had one of my best friends, every time he comes to visit me, his requirement is that I make him ribs. Not just ribs, he wants his own rack of ribs. He will not share with anybody. Like, he will take it. Soon as the first rack comes out the grill, he lets me finish it. He wraps it up and he hides it and stashes it somewhere. So I can see what I can do.
Now, so now it's like almost required, right?
So that's a lot of rack of ribs. Okay, Andy, I'll tell you what. What day you gonna get here for the Siege invitation?
Yeah, when's the barbecue? It's Friday night, right?
Yep.
You want to fly in Friday afternoon?
Yeah, I'll fly on Friday.
Friday afternoon. He and Rick. Friday afternoon.
Well, dang, this late. I need you here Friday morning. I gotta cook.
Like, there might not be any food left.
Yeah.
I need. If I gotta cook,
come down.
They need to be there on Thursday. We can get him there on Thursday.
Okay, that way he can come to the house and help me.
We can see about flying in Thursday night. We'll see.
Okay, that way he can come to the house and help me sling all those racks of ribs. Because if I do ribs, we talking like 20 racks of ribs. I gotta cook all those.
It's like it's gonna be like Noah's Ark at your house, just like all the animals.
The last thing, of course, since everybody's doing narrative events. Of course, Warfare Weekend will be doing the ending of the Black Tide stuff. But there's also, and we're going to spoil it here, there's going to be a 150 point narrative event 2-caster list going to come up at Warfare Weekend, which is going to be a new thing. It is not finished, and we can't spoil too much of it, but it's going to be 150 point list with 2 casters in the list. So we'll be showcasing that once we have it all finalized. We can give full details. So it'll be another narrative event, which I think is great. We've got like a crap ton of good narrative events coming out for everybody.
So what you're telling me is, Gonzo, I can build a list with 2 judicators and high reclaimer and any other character and just watch things evaporate off the board. I like
that. You say judicator?
We will have the full rules as soon as we can, but this is going to be a new type of narrative event that hasn't been done before, so it'll be kind of interesting.
Hey, can I bring 4 judicators and higher player?
See, I'm not even trying to be greedy. Give me one Judy. Give me one Judy back.
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate all of y'all. Y'all were amazing people. It was really good to hang out and everything. I can't wait till we all get together again. Looks like most of us are going to be at the Siege Invitational. So that'll be another kind of reunion. Maybe we can do this again for the Siege.
Yeah, there we go.
Sounds good.
For More Than Dice, I'm Gonzo.
For Minority Report, this is Terrance.
Tried and true Dollar War Machines. This is Erica and
Andy.
And this is Zeke from Minority Report.
And here goes that outro music. Everybody dance.
Thanks for having us.